G'day Darkrealmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again. And today I've got something a little bit different for you. Today I want to talk to you very briefly about the importance of supporting indie creators. And I mean indie artists, indie writers, indie musicians, and why it's so important. So let's get started, hey? Yeah. You know, Dark Realmers, one of the things I really love about doing the diaries is when I'm contacted by people such as filmmakers and writers and so forth who've seen some of my reviews and have thanked me for my reviews. I recently got a thank you for a review I did on a movie by the co-writer and director, and to me, that's like wow! It is like being contacted by an A-list celebrity. That these people who make films are contacting me and thanking me, a little tiny channel here in Australia. And so recently, on my author Facebook page, I had a message from a young guy called Avery Cohen. And Avery told me how much he enjoyed the diaries and that he'd made a short film and would I mind checking it out. Now, as an indie myself, I'm a huge supporter of any form of indie talent, whether it be musicians, artists, authors, whatever. So I was happy to check it out for Avery. And I'll tell you what, I was absolutely blown away by the quality. Okay, now I've studied media at college, so I know how hard it is learning the craft and getting things right and everything, and how time consuming even short movies can be. And let me tell you, this movie about two brothers, the cinematography was just excellent. It was so good. And the lighting, crisp and clear and perfect for each scene. And the acting for these young guys and girls was just great. Okay. And it got me thinking, here's a young filmmaker who's made a film and possibly more. Now, everyone connected with that production I don't know, of course, whether they intend to go into the industry or they have dreams of going into the industry, but everyone from the lighting assistant, the makeup artist, they're all learning their craft, and this is how they do it, through indie work and indie productions. And that's why it's important to support them, because they are the next generation of talent coming up, Dark Realmers. Okay, now Steven Spielberg didn't suddenly, arrive in Hollywood and he was an expert and he was well known. Nothing like that, Dark Realmers. Steven Spielberg had an interest in movies from a very young age, and he actually made a lot of short Super 8 movies. And some of his early work were still learning. But today he's one of Hollywood's top directors, okay? And this is why I'm saying it's important to support indie talent, okay? Because it's fostering that creativity, that dream, that desire. Now, I'm sure some indie creators, such as authors and artists, and dream of making it big. Of course, we all have dreams. I myself have this little daydream of walking down a red carpet where one of my books has been turned into a movie, and that's just a nice little daydream. I don't do it for glory or money. I mean, money, yes, it would be nice, but I do it because of the love of writing, the love of the written word, and seeing your work out there, and people have read it and said, oh my God, Michael, I love this. It's just wonderful. Now, I don't know whether Avery intends to make more movies. I hope he does, because he has a real gift, I feel, for direction. And so I'd like you to check out his movie down in the, I've left the link for you down on the comment section. It's here on YouTube, and check it out. It's a great little effort. Now, as I said, Dark Realmers, indie creators put a lot of blood, sweat and tears into their work, okay? And as I just mentioned, they do it for the love of it, okay? And sometimes, yes, they do strike gold and they do become discovered. But one of the troubles that indie creators face is that, unlike mainstream, now indies don't have the sort of support that comes from Hollywood or in terms of authors from the publishing industry. And for artists, it's the same thing. Now, just think for a moment on that. Just think how things may have been different if Vincent van Gogh had been lauded as an artistic genius during his lifetime instead of afterwards. Okay, now it's really fascinating. Okay, and that's the thing too, Darkrealmers, that indie creators have to be everything. They have to be their own publicist. They have to be their own agent. They have to be their own marketing guru. And many of them have to fit all this in while they're working in a normal job too, and raising families too. So you can imagine how incredibly difficult that can be. So why do they do it? Because, like I said, it's the love of their art. Okay, and if we didn't have people who didn't love their art form, the world would be a very bleak place. It'd be a bit like 1984, where machines just churn out novels and books and so forth for the masses. Now, like I said, indie creators put a lot of time and effort into creating their art. And one of the things that I tend to be a little bit annoyed about with today's society is the way that society manufactures artists. And the example I'm going to use is with musicians. And we've got shows like, Pop Idol and X Factor and so forth, and they churn out these artists. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have any problem with the artists themselves. But what I do have a problem with is the way it's a slap in the face for all those hardworking singers, songwriters, bands who traverse the country or traverse their state or whatever, playing clubs and pubs and just anything to get their music out there. Because the people on X Factor and all those shows go along, win, way, yay, wonderful. Then they get a recording contract and then it's all managed for them. And, people tend to forget that, the hard-working musicians did a lot of road trips to get where they are today, And so that's why I think it's very important that we support indies. And another reason too, Darkrealmers, is that even though there's thousands upon thousands of books now being self-published because of sites like Amazon, and there are some gems out there, believe me. I've read some wonderful books by some wonderful, incredibly talented indie authors. Hollywood tends to keep going back to the same old genres, not doing anything terribly original. It's either reboots or remakes. Now, one of the exceptions to that is Hugh Howey. Now, Hugh Howey wrote a series of books about an apocalyptic future, post-apocalyptic, where people are living in silos underground, and to talk about outside is taboo. And, if you don't follow the rules, you're condemned to go outside, and, you'll be poisoned by the air. Well, this is such a brilliant trilogy that Alien director Ridley Scott took up the option to turn it into a movie. And that's just wonderful. Now, Hugh Howey was writing this while he was working full time, and they are big books too. They are massive, very complex, as the plot unfolds and things like that. But, that Hugh is just one of tens of thousands of wonderful writers whose work would be wonderful for the cinema. Absolutely wonderful. And so indie authors, indie artists struggle. They struggle, and they need that support network. And that's why I'm very lucky. I'm part of a group called The Authors, and we are all indie authors from all around the world, and we all support each other as much as humanly possible. We try and publicise each other's work. We try and get the works known and out there. And we're there when, artists of any media go through down periods where they want to give up. And I've done it myself. And to have that support network saying, no, don't you give up, it's just wonderful. So like I said, Darkrealmers, the reason I made this little video today wasn't to rant and rave. It was just to let you know that your support of any indie artist, whether they be musicians, whether they be artists, writers, directors, movie makers like young Avery, you've got no idea how wonderful that is, for for indies, because it's like a step in the, it's like getting a pat on the back and saying, keep going, you're doing things really, really well. I really enjoy your work, okay? And like I said, we do it for the love. We don't do it because we see ourselves like Stephen King or, being another Beethoven. Well, okay, I can't think of a modern equivalent, but yeah, anyway. Okay, so thank you. If you're a supporter of indies in any way, shape or form, a huge thank you from me and the whole indie community, okay? And if you get a chance, check out indie bookshops, online, such as Amazon and other places, and give an indie book a chance. They put a lot of blood, sweat and tears into it, okay? Hey, the few dollars you're spending, isn't going to change an indie's life, okay? It's not going to make them retire to the Bahamas, I can assure you. But that one sale, seeing that one sale in your graphs and your charts, it's just a wonderful feeling. So that's it, Darkrealmers. Now, as I said, please support Avery and check out his movie and subscribe to his channel, because I really want this young man to be encouraged, and I think he will blow us all away if he keeps making movies, okay? And like I said, thank you so much for watching and letting me have my 2 cents about indies. I'll be back again soon, Darkrealmers, with Back to the Normal, yes, back with some more book reviews, creepypasta and the like. So until next time, this is Michael J. Elliott saying, stay in the light by supporting an indie electrician. Thanks very much. Bye.